Welcome back to episode 2 of the Lesbian Line, where we talk about the things, we learn about the things. Okay, so the theme of this episode is going to be LBD, or lesbian bed death as we know it. If you have never heard of lesbian bed death, is when lesbian couples, they get so comfortable with each other, and there's so many ways that we're intimate that sometimes the, what can I call this? Spicy time kind of dwindles a little bit. Now, if you've been in multiple long-term relationships, you know that there is an ebb and flow. But for our baby lesbians and coming of age, they may not know that. And it could feel jarring. It could feel confusing when, in the beginning of the relationship, there was so much spice and now it's a little mild or medium, but it is a normal part of lesbian relationships. It can be an inconvenience, but it is something that exists, and it's something that does not stay forever if it is a healthy relationship. So that's what our topic is going to be today. Before we get into the stories of today, there's going to be 2. I just want to do a quick disclaimer. Hey everyone, just a quick heads up before we dive in. I'm not a medical professional or a therapist. This is all just commentary, conversation, and community. This whole project is inspired by my doctoral research, which is all about exploring how queer people learn, share, and reflect on relationships online. We'll be diving into queer stories found on social media like Reddit, Instagram, or stories that you send in. Everything we talk about will be linked below so you can read the original stories for yourself. Thanks for being here. Now, let's get on the lesbian line. All right, story 1. Advice, newly married. I, 31 female, am married to my wife, 29 female, but I don't feel romantic or physical attraction anymore and don't know what to do. I could really use some perspective from other queer women who've gone through something similar. My wife and I have been together for about 4.5 years and married for less than 1. Okay, so we're at the 5-year mark for them. By 5 years, you've done some things. You've had some spicy moments, okay? You've experimented. You've gone on vacation together. You've tried new things. You've bought new appliances. Okay, 5 years is a while. So this is actually not surprising at all. Anyway, back to the story. She's beautiful, kind, and genuinely a good person. But over time, something has changed for me. We've barely had sex in the last 4 years, and when we do, it feels more like an obligation than desire. It's not about her looks or who she is. She's amazing. I just don't feel romantic or a sexual connection anymore. Okay. My thoughts on this. When it comes to intimacy and spicy time within lesbian couples, after a while, it's not something that's organic anymore. You have to put in more effort. And it's not like in the beginning when everything's like impulsive and like you're in the honeymoon stage and all of those things. After 5 years, you have to put in the effort, those little things. And what I mean by little things, sending a quick text message, hey, I'm thinking about how you did this thing, or I love it when you wear that thing that you wear. Just those little points of connection to build up to spicy time, or even having a conversation about it. And also too, spicy time is nice. We all know that. We all know. But that is not the only form of intimacy, and that shouldn't be the only goal. When you're in a relationship with someone and you plan on spending your life with them, you have to be able to explore alternative forms of intimacy. I was watching a video the other day. I can't remember the person's name, but they created a pivot plan for themselves and their partner. So when a person initiates spicy time and it's not a good time, they don't want to, they have a pivot plan. So maybe they'll cuddle instead. Maybe they'll paint together, or they'll have parallel activities. One person is reading a book, the other person is playing on their Nintendo Switch or something. And they're still getting that intimate time. They're still close, but they're giving themselves space until time allows for spicy time to occur. Sorry, went on a tangent. I did. Okay, back to the story. I still love her deeply and want her in my life. She feels like family to me. But I realized I might be staying more out of comfort, familiarity, and fear of losing her than because I want to keep working on the marriage romantically. Okay, this is taking a turn. I brought up wanting an open relationship, sort of, not because I want to date around or chase something new for the thrill, but because I'm not getting what I need here. After years of sexual rejection and disconnect, they didn't mention that earlier, I've lost the attraction I once had for her. Even if she wanted to have sex now, I don't think I could. The desire is gone. What I want is to be able to connect with someone else physically or emotionally while still keeping the emotional bond and home I've built with her. Okay, this seems a little greedy. It seems a little greedy, but let's see what else they have to say. But she's made it clear that she doesn't want an open relationship, which I respect. It just leaves me feeling stuck because staying means denying a real part of myself, and leaving means losing someone I still care deeply about. I'm scared of starting over, of being judged for ending a marriage so soon, and of never finding the kind of love and connection I need. But I also know I'm attracted to other people and want to explore that honestly. Has anyone else gone through this? Still loving your wife, but not wanting her romantically or sexually anymore? How did you navigate it? Did you stay as companions, separate, or find another way? Any honest insights or stories would really mean a lot. Okay, so now that we have the whole breadth of what this issue is, what's concerning to me is the years of sexual rejection and disconnect. They've only been together 5 years, so that's concerning. When you're in a situation where you don't have a pivot plan and you're constantly being rejected sexually, it really brings down your self-esteem, and it really brings down, you don't want to ask anymore. It's like if you keep asking and that person keeps saying no, the day's going to come where you're just not going to ask anymore, or you're going to handle it yourself, or, and this would be worst case scenario, you go out and you find someone else to share that space with. And it's really sad when that happens. We only have one side of the story, so we don't know what the wife would say in this situation, but the years of sexual rejection and disconnect is concerning. Now, what advice would I give this person? I do think this person needs a certain amount of honesty, meaning that you cannot have it both ways. When you married this person, you entered into a monogamous relationship that you agreed to legally. And if you don't want that, then the point of this marriage is kind of null and void at that point. It really seems like this person is trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like, I love my wife as a person, as a human, but I want to have spicy time with other people. And you can't do that when you agreed to a monogamous situation. So for this person, it really is as simple as making a decision. Either you're going to stay with your wife and find alternative ways to handle this problem, or you're going to leave your wife and find someone else that you can be happy with sexually. This is not a situation where you can have this both ways, especially since it says, but she's made it clear that she doesn't want an open relationship, which I respect. Thank you for respecting that. Yeah, this person has to make a decision. That's what I think personally. But let's see what the comments say. What I want is to be able to connect with someone else physically or emotionally while still keeping the emotional bond and home I've built with her. Sounds like you want to have your cake and eat it too. That's what I said. You're not doing yourself or her any favors by staying when neither of you are getting what you need out of the marriage. Can I ask why you decided to get married if it sounds like the issue started only half a year into the relationship? Okay, let's see if there's a comment. Okay, exactly. Yeah, that's on the money. This is coming from the OP. They made a comment. I don't know. I envisioned a life with her, and it's sad it's not working the way we want. So I'm trying to hold on. It's pathetic, I know, but I'm human, and I'm trying to hold space for maybe some hope that therapy would help us, but who knows? Therapy, okay, so side note, therapy is great. Therapy is awesome. Therapy is chef's kiss. But if you've already, over the course of multiple years, lost the desire for this person, then at this point, you're kind of just roommates at this point. And another comment addresses that. I hate to break it to you, but therapy works when there is something you can work with, i.e. resources. In this case, it's really nice you wish to keep your cozy home life, but it's about you. You wish that out of selfish reasons. Also, a therapist is not a magician. They are not. And to say it bluntly, not going to put a spell on you that's going to make you want to, can't say that word, want to have spicy time when you clearly don't want to, and vice versa. They can help you through a crisis, but not with literally knowing that you don't want and don't have spicy feelings towards this other person. And okay, OP is very communicative in here. They're like, the OP says, yeah, pretty much that is very true. I do want to have my cake and eat it too, which I know is not very fair. I think we chose to get married because we were both in denial and we both wanted to work. Also, it seemed like the next step. Okay. I could see where they came to that conclusion after you've been with someone for a number of years. It does seem like the natural step to solidify your relationship by marriage. However, if you're ignoring problems in the relationship, then that's just not something that you should do. All right. So someone asked the question, and I want to know too. Hold on. So she's been rejecting you for years. Can you explain more about that? I.e., is it medical? No reason? Has she always had a lower libido than you? So the OP answers, yeah. So the first year that we were together, we had spicy time pretty often. I would say during the honeymoon phase, and then it just kind of dissipated and eventually stopped. Even after we got married, we haven't had spicy time, and that was 6 months ago. We have gone over a year without it before, and then we'll do it, and then we'll go another year with none, and so on. She has no medical issues that would make her not be able to. We've talked about this so many times and have said we need to go to therapy, but we haven't until I told her this is my breaking point. So we will see a therapist next week. Okay. Her reason for not wanting to is no reason at all, meaning she doesn't give me a reason. She just says she wants to, and then we don't. So it's just deflection. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay. This is leading me to believe that the wife may be asexual or on the asexual spectrum. It seems like they love each other. It seems like they care, but there's a disconnect on spicy time. Either they're on the asexual spectrum, maybe a mix of asexual and aromantic, or they're just not sexually compatible. Maybe she just doesn't like it, and that's why they don't. This is an interesting story. I mean, if this were me and this amount of time was passing each time, I don't feel like that's healthy in a typical relationship. Like 6 months is a long time. A year is a long time. I would evaluate if I wanted to stay in this marriage or not, because that's a lot. Okay, so I think that is it for that story. So we are going to go right into the next one. Okay. It is the same topic, but a completely different story. Okay. Lesbian bed death, feeling guilty and confused. Okay. Hello, Reddit. I'm in need of some advice and perspective on my current relationship situation. My wife and I have been together for 4 years and married for 2. Okay, so 6 years. I'm going to be as detailed as possible to give you a clear picture of what's going on. When we first got together, our relationship was incredibly passionate and physical. We had an intense sexual connection, exploring every aspect of intimacy within the first 6 months. Looking back, I realized I might have been putting on a bit of a performance, as we all do. It's a no judgment space, trying to impress her and match her energy. Despite this, we genuinely had a lot of fun, and it helped us both bond and get to know each other on a deeper level. Fast forward to now, and things have changed dramatically. It's been about 6 months since we've had sex, at least in the way my wife would prefer. She may have touched me once or twice during this period. I'm usually the bottom in our encounters, but we haven't used the... Wait, can I say that? I don't know if I could say that. But we haven't used the appliances in at least half a year. This lack of intimacy is clearly affecting her, and she's expressed her unhappiness about the situation. I apologize if this gets a bit graphic, but I want to be as honest and clear as possible. In the early stages of our relationship, I would get incredibly bright by her presence alone. I was always ready and eager for spicy time. However, in the last couple of months, I've noticed a significant change in my body's responses. I can't seem to get bright anymore, even when I want to. It's frustrating and confusing because I'm still very much attracted to her and can fantasize about her. We've been trying to understand why this is happening. Are we just making excuses? We often find ourselves exhausted from work, stressed about our financial situation, or just overwhelmed by life in general. It seems like there's always something getting in the way of us being intimate. Okay, all right. This is very real when you're an adult, and I don't know, she didn't say what their ages were, but when you're an adult, like over 35, and you're going to work and you're handling your responsibilities and you have to meal prep and you have to take yourself to the gym and make sure that your hair is done and your clothes are washed and the tub is scrubbed out. There's so many things pulling at your energy all the time. You're also starting to take care of family members. Like, there's so many things all the time, and that can exhaust you. So when you have, this other thing you have to do, spicy time, and it takes so much energy, it's normal for couples, especially if they're an established couple like these two are, where they've been together for 6 years. It's normal for it to kind of go on the back burner. That happens a lot, and it happens frequently. And while it is normal, we do have to start putting more effort into it, because it's one of those things where, like, use it or lose it. You have to put in the effort, you have to put in the time. And even if you have to put it into a schedule, like, okay, this Saturday morning from until 2 p.m, we're gonna have this time together. And you don't have to have like spicy time, but you need to make time to connect with each other on an intimate level and be close to each other. Because if you're not making that time to connect to the person that you love, then you're just roommates and it's awkward. Okay, so back to the story. Recently, something happened that has added to my confusion and guilt. I went on a short vacation with a friend to whom I'm physically attracted. I'm bi. Nothing explicitly sexual happened between us, but we ended up having to share a bed one night. We spooned, and to my surprise and shock, I found myself getting very aroused by his proximity. Oh, no, not the men. This reaction has left me feeling incredibly guilty, especially considering my lack of physical response to my wife lately. That's not good. I've been trying to analyze why my body reacted so strongly in that situation. Was it because I was in a relaxing vacation context away from the stresses of home? Or is it something more concerning about my relationship? Even if it was just the relaxed environment, I still feel guilty. Well, you should, honey. You should. I mean, it's a no judgment space. It's a no judgment space, but you can't be spooning with anybody else that is not your wife. Okay. For the people that are just entering into the community, let me learn you something real quick. Okay? If you are in an established relationship that you have agreed to be monogamous in, you can't do nothing that you would not do in front of your partner. If you would not spoon this man while your partner is standing right there, you can't do it. I don't like it. Cancel it. I don't like it. Anyway, now where was I? Or is it something more concerning about my relationship? Even if it was just the relaxed environment, I still feel guilty knowing it was someone else who triggered that response. My sexual desires have been all over the place lately. When my wife is in the mood, I'm not, and vice versa. On the rare occasions when we do try to be intimate, my body doesn't respond the way it used to, which is frustrating and embarrassing for us both. I've also found myself fantasizing about other people and scenarios. I've been thinking about 3-piece spicies and other new experiences we haven't tried. Part of me wonders if these fantasies are a result of our current situation. We are just not bright at the same time anymore. I tried to initiate something the other night by sending my wife a message while she was at work, asking her to come home early because I was feeling spicy. She simply replied that she wasn't in the mood for anything to happen that night, which left me feeling rejected and confused. Oh, no. Okay. That's a better response would have been, hey, babe, thanks for the message. I really enjoyed that. Work has got me really, really tired, but I would love to spend some time with you on Saturday if you have time in the morning. Is that all right? That sounds a whole lot better than just saying, no, girl. Anyway, to add another layer of complexity, I keep comparing this situation to my previous relationship. Oh, God, you should never do that. This is not your previous relationship. It's not. There's a reason why that relationship is over, okay? And there's a reason why you're here. You ever tried driving while looking backwards? You crash. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I was in a serious relationship for 3 years before my current marriage, and we never faced these kinds of intimacy issues. However, we never lived together, which makes me wonder if the current problems are related to the routine of marriage, life, and cohabitation. It is. When your body realizes that this person is your person and you're going to spend your life together, there's no sense of urgency. There's no, oh, we have to do this like now. No, because that person is going to be there every day for the rest of your life. It's still important, but you have to start making it a priority in any case. I'm at a loss about what to do. I love my wife deeply and want to maintain a healthy, satisfying relationship with her. But I'm concerned about my lack of physical response to her, my guilt over my reaction to my friend, and the growing distance between us in the bedroom. Has anybody else experienced something similar? How did you handle it? Should we consider couples therapy or sex therapy? Any advice or insights would be greatly appreciated. My advice for her, it really feels like they're just not on the same page. They're getting so caught up in the everyday just droll of things of wake up early in the morning, get yourself ready for work, go to work all day, come home, you're tired, you turn on the TV, maybe you make yourself a drink, maybe you take a bath or, a shower, you meal prep for the next day, you take out your outfit for work the next day, and then you go to bed and you do the same thing over and over and over again. It's easy to get stuck in that loop of go to work, come home, go to sleep, go to work, come home, go to sleep. It's easy to fall into that. But here's the thing. When you have someone that is literally dependent on you for intimate, spicy times and intimate moments, when you're somebody's person, you're kind of obligated to be there for them. And it's like, do you need to have spicy time every night? No. Nobody has the energy for that, especially after 35. No one has energy for that. However, what should be said is that effort has to be put in. Like, once you've gotten into 3 years, 4 years, 7 years, okay? It may not be like a firework. It may be like taking the time to build a fire, like finding the kindling, like keeping your hands over it while it's small and then watching it grow. Once you've been with someone for a long time, I don't want to say there's like a monotony to it. It can be different. You can do different things. But my point is that there has to be a level of energy put into it that you did not have to put into it in the beginning. Now, for this girl, why she may have responded to her friend when they were spooning in the bed is because it was something new. It was something different. Your body responds to things that are different, and that that makes sense when you think about it that way. She may not have wanted a relationship with him or marry him or have his babies or anything, but it's a new body. It's a new energy. They were in a new location. So that makes sense that her body may have been turned on. I definitely agree with her that some kind of therapy hopefully would help. I think a combination of couples therapy and sex therapy would help, but also just making the time. Like, you have to make the time. Otherwise, it goes downhill real fast. All right, let's see what the comments are. All right, the top comment. This happened to me and my partner of 5 years. It was infuriating for both of us because the spicy time was still good, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to do it anymore. We would frequently go months without anything because there was always a reason not to. My best advice would be to try to initiate the little stuff to get back to that spark. That's what I said. Okay. The little soft touches, surprise mini kisses and such. Basically try to mimic the flirty stuff you do when you first meet someone. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Because flirting is a big part of it too. For us, we are so stuck in our routine of living together for so long that it became us trying to survive together. Yeah, that's true. Once you get to that point, any grand gesture we did to try to initiate it felt too overwhelming because we were both overly conscious of our situation. Doing the little stuff that doesn't lead to sex, but still lets the other person know that emotionally and physically you are there for them will ease the pressure. I love that comment. That's great. Let me see. Somebody else said, don't be around that friend for now. How would you like it if your wife did the exact same thing? Consoling, obviously. Find out why this is happening. Yeah, I agree. Someone else says, dang, I don't know. I don't have advice, but I'd be losing it if I was your wife. Hope she stays strong. Yeah. So I really hope that it works out for them. This is like from a year ago. So I really hope that it's better now. Okay. So that's that story. Okay. So before we head out, before we end the call, I do want to tell you about two media spotlights so that you can keep it queer. The first thing I'm going to talk about is The Women of Brewster Place. It's a book. It's also a movie, but I would definitely read both because there are subtle and large details in the book that did not make it into the movie. The Women of Brewster Place is about this building of women who live essentially in an alleyway. There's a wall that keeps them from the main road, and all of these women have different experiences that got them there. Why I'm suggesting it in the lesbian media spotlight is because there is a lesbian couple in the book, and they are definitely having a very specific issue. The time period that they were in is pretty understandable for them to have. They loved each other. Like, you could tell that they loved each other, but the world was handling them in such a way that to me was heartbreaking. And then something else happens that forces a shift with them. So if you've never read The Women of Brewster Place, I suggest you check it out. Trigger warning on that book, though. It is a bit intense. There are some parts. So trigger warning on anything that can be triggered. Okay. Because I don't want to give it away. The next thing is a movie. It's The T Word, given by Laverne Cox. She presented it. It is available on YouTube. I'll link it below. But it is basically about trans teenagers growing up in New York City and New Jersey, I believe. And she just goes through like what their life is like, their challenges, the things they love. It was a very, very cool documentary. So if you've never seen Laverne Cox's The T Word, I would definitely give it a watch because it's very fun and very cute. Okay, so that is the end of episode 2 of The Lesbian Line, where we talked about lesbian bed death. If you like what you hear, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. It helps more folks find us and keeps the space growing. Thank you for being here. This one is longer than the first one. So if you made it to the end, thanks so much. Yeah, I will see you next time. Okay, so send your stories, follow us, rate the podcast, okay? And I will see you next time. All right, bye.